about ready.
Okay.
I am. Rolling.
The Knack Hardware and Lounge brings you Garage Logic Podcast number 1530, April 23, 2025. It was 86 degrees on this day in 1990, and it was 19 degrees on this day in 1910.
Hail the flashlight king.
And now, from the mayor's office above the boathouse on the east shore of Spoon Lake, it's Garage Logic with Chris Reavers manning Technology Corner, Kenny Olson from the Krabby Coffee Shop, John Haidt in the newsroom, and of course, the Rookie. Here is your flashlight king, fireworks commissioner, and the keeper of common sense, your mayor, Joe Soucheray.
April 23rd, Minnetonka went out on this day in 1901, 1923, 1944, 1979, and 2008. White Bear Lake went out on this day in 1936, 1979 like Minnetonka, 2008 like Minnetonka, and again in 2014.
Those are brought to us by our friends at ProfessionalTurf.com.
I need to appoint one of you, and I don't want any of your grief.
Not it. Russ, sitting on my hands.
One of you has to watch the governor's State of the State address tonight.
I don't think so, Pat. I got Survivor. I got Survivor.
Yeah,
John,
I
Haidt, you busy?
I got a thing.
Kenny?
No, I'm going to be looking for a rope and a raft.
You know what? Here's what I'll do.
Here we go.
After we have the big DRS League meeting in Newmarket, I will record it, and then I will watch it, and that way I can fast forward through stuff.
What would you fast forward through?
Most of this meeting.
Tonight at the state capitol, Governor Walz will speak, giving us his State of the State address. This is required by state constitution to give an annual speech. There's just weeks left in the legislative session. There's no budget agreement. What I'm wondering, it's a 7 p.m. start in the House chamber, and somebody has to watch it, because here's what we need to learn. How could he possibly turn this into anything positive? What is there positive to say? The budget deficit is $6 billion. You've got fraud that continues to be rampant. You have the discovery now that we are going to be on the hook for providing health care for 17,000 illegal aliens. Will that get mentioned? That's quite a number.
It's a lot of people, Joe.
Of people. They need care. The number of illegal immigrants enrolled in Minnesota Care has far exceeded the initial estimates put forward by the Department of Human Services. In 2023, the Democrats, that's the year of their, weren't they having their wild frat party, their trifecta party?
Yes.
That's the year.
They decided that we're allowing illegal immigrants to enroll in Minnesota Care. That's the state health care program, funded entirely by state taxes. So on Monday afternoon, just 2 days ago, Senator Jordan Rasmussen and Representative Isaac Schultz, Representative Jeff Backer, and Senator Paul Utke held a press conference to draw attention to the large number of illegal aliens enrolling in the program. Beginning in January of this year, just 3 months or 4 months ago, illegal aliens were allowed to enroll for the first time. Minnesota's Office of Management and Budget initially projected that only 5,700 illegal immigrants would enroll. However, more than 17,000 enrolled.
Wow.
Figures provided by the Republicans came directly from state agencies. In just 3 months, the enrollment for taxpayer-funded health care for illegal immigrants is nearly triple what Democrats said it would be, said Rasmussen. This is an astounding surge that validates my concern that this change would incentivize illegal immigrants to come to Minnesota. When Minnesota's most recent budget forecast was unveiled in March, this is the one with the $6 billion deficit, the cost of covering illegal immigrants via Minnesota Care was estimated to be $220 million. Okay, but given the dramatic surge of illegals enrolled in the program, the GOP now believes the state will be spending over $600 million in the next 4 years.
Oh, it's just a figure.
Or almost exactly the amount of the fraud output so far, $600 million.
That's kind of a nice coincidence.
So again, what could this man say tonight? What could he zero in on to offer rays of hope to the downtrodden citizens of Minnesota? Will this come up, I wonder?
I think it's going to mostly be negative, isn't it?
He's not capable of that. He's going to tout himself.
Is he going to focus on the state, or is he going to focus on ripping Trump?
That's what I mean.
I bet he does.
That's what I mean. He's going to rip Trump, say Trump is killing business in
Elon.
Minnesota. He's going to rip Trump for the trans rights, and he's going to talk about what a great job Ellison is doing by suing Trump. I bet you he doesn't talk about the food fraud, but he does talk about the fact that the kids need more money for food.
I'm not taking any of your bets.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
I think
Did you write a speech?
I think
Spot
it'll
on.
mostly be negative.
What he will do is, in regards to food fraud, he'll talk about how they came up with a new department to combat the food fraud.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're right. You're right.
Well, here, let me continue. Illegal immigrants are given $7,000 per person in Minnesota Care benefits. 17,000 illegal immigrants enrolled in the program, combined with the $7 per person bill, will cost the state $107 million in the current fiscal year. As such, GOP lawmakers criticize Democrats for prioritizing illegal aliens over the needs of Minnesotans and stress that state resources instead must be focused on adequate funding for nursing homes and disability services. Minnesotans are watching their loved ones lose care while Democrats hand out free health care to illegal immigrants. Minnesotans are not put first. While Minnesota has a projected budget surplus for the coming 2-year budget period, the state is facing a $6 billion budget deficit soon afterward. Okay.
Wow. Jeez. Wow.
Alpha News reached out to the Department of Human Services, Minnesota Office of Management and Budget, WALS, the House DFL, and Senate DFL for comment. Nobody wanted to comment. So will this get mentioned tonight?
You know.
Good one, Joe.
Yeah. You know the answer.
Well, one of us has to watch it, and it'll probably have to be me.
That's about the only thing we've been right on.
Don't worry, it'll only be 64 and partly sunny at 7 p.m., Joe. Nothing to see outside.
One of the TV stations.
How do you watch it? I got to find that out.
Well, one of them this morning, 9 or 5, one or the other, was running B-roll of him giving a speech while they were talking about it. And he was ranting and raving and projectile sweating, and it kind of reminded me of a certain part of the world in the late 30s, to be honest.
Really?
The ranting and raving, yeah. It was so funny.
I grabbed this story off the local CBS news site, and they're offering it, of course, but maybe other channels are too. It's live on CBS News Minnesota. Oh, you have to stream it? I don't know how to do that.
I like your chances.
You got to press.
Good luck with that.
You got to say something into your microphone.
I was going to send this to you, but since you're bringing up our dear leader, King Walls, this was dated, I believe, what was the 21st? Is that 2 days ago? Yes. The Minnesota Department of Health issued a press release, Joe.
Yes.
Due to the recent federal funding cuts, The public inquiry hotline that started in the early days of COVID-19 pandemic will officially end on Friday, April 18th.
Wait, what was the
Wait a
setup
minute,
line?
we still have them?
We still have this
Do the setup line again. Due to what?
due to the recent federal funding cuts. The public inquiry hotline that started in the early days of the COVID-19 pandemic is going to end today, Friday, April 18th. The hotline, Joe, was a vital service that offered a way for Minnesotans to connect with the Minnesota Department of Health to get information and answers about public health information and resources.
That was 5 years ago.
The hotline provided a way for people to receive health and safety information in other languages. Staff bilingual in Spanish, Somali, and Hmong provided this service. The language line was also used for other languages when needed. From March 20th, 2020 to March 2025, the public inquiry hotline handled 461,792 calls. Staff also provided information to Minnesotans via countless emails.
Well, thank you, President Trump and Elon Musk.
Due to federal funding cuts. Otherwise, that sumbitch would have been still rocking and rolling.
I wonder if that's why you have so many potholes in St. Paul, Joe. Is that due to federal funding? I mean, he's getting the blame for everything.
I don't know what made me think of this, but I've stumbled on a series called Now They See Us. It's the story of the Central Park Five. Does anyone recall the Central Park Five? In April of 1989, 5 black kids were rounded up and coerced into confessing to the rape and bludgeoning of a very gorgeous young woman out jogging in Central Park. They didn't do it. It's clear that they didn't do it. You know? But they all were coerced by really bad cops and really bad district attorney. And the whole thing is infuriating to see what happens to these kids. It's only 4 parts. I guess, why did I mention it? Oh, Trump plays a role in it. And I'm vaguely remembering this. Trump was taking out, he was not a politician. Trump was taking out full-page ads in the New York newspapers calling for the death penalty and bring back the death penalty. And he was focused on these kids who ultimately didn't do this. It's a story of how they were manipulated. And none of the typical columnists in the day came to their defense. I tried to find if Jimmy Breslin wrote anything. He wrote some stuff criticizing Trump, but I don't think he wrote anything defending the kids. Pete Hamill didn't defend the kids. It's so sad and so infuriating, but it's gripping. And if you want to watch it,
That can happen with any kind of case and anybody. We've actually been guilty of it ourselves a few times, and that's where that 24, 36-hour rule figured in.
But the 24, 36-hour rule didn't work for 15 years in this case.
guys all went to jail.
time.
What do you mean?
they were convicted.
Oh, Jesus, really?
They were in jail from 1989 to 2002.
I'm sorry, I don't
when
remember
finally
the case.
the real guy came forward and said it was me,
Holy cow.
provided the DNA evidence that it was him, and he only did that because he was serving time anyway.
They this was in the news last week. I had it in one of my newscasts, but didn't use it.
Yeah.
They've sued Donald Trump.
Yeah, they're suing everybody in sight, including the DA.
And a judge refused to dismiss it. Trump had asked for the case to be dismissed. But
I hope it's not
judge
dismissed.
did not dismiss it.
I hope it's not dismissed. They were so...
Well, then wouldn't you have to go after virtually anybody
They are.
who was in the
They
public
are.
eye at that
They are.
Okay. What about the police officers?
I don't know if they're going after them. It was not a very good portrait of New York police officers.
Yeah, not a very good portrait of the justice system either.
It was horrible.
Yeah.
And this is yesterday. It was, this wasn't 1932.
Don't yell at me. I'm
telling
not,
you.
Kenny.
I am not fighting with you.
I'm telling you, this was 1989. I wish I didn't watch it. It makes me so angry.
Yeah.
There's 2 episodes left. I suppose the 3rd episode is I get to watch them suffer in jail while people try to make it straight. And then I suppose the concluding episode is them now. They're all they all survived successfully in jail. They came out whole somehow.
Do you ever watch anything that doesn't make you angry?
Yeah. No, it's because I watched the Twins. No, that makes me
that
angry.
makes
How about that catch Buxton
Wait a
made?
minute.
Nice.
Wait a minute.
Yeah,
Did two
very
of our
nice.
3 teams win
They did.
yesterday?
Yeah.
Yep.
Not bad.
You know, before you get terribly excited
All right.
about Buxton's catch,
Oh God, here we go.
may I point out
Kenny,
that
your answer is no. He can't see anything that doesn't make him angry.
who's the guy with the crucifix under his ear? Santana?
Johan Duran.
Duran comes out. He loads the bases. In the top of the 9th. They got a 4-1 lead, don't they?
They do.
Yeah,
they did.
and the White Sox, who are worse than the Twins,
The only team worse.
loads the bases. And now we're going to celebrate a miraculous catch. I'm surprised he didn't get hurt, that Buxton had to make to preserve the victory. And this is cause for celebration?
I just
No, it's
Like-
not cause for
okay.
celebration. It was pathetic. The guy hit the ball as hard as humanly possible, and only Buxton is the only human who could have caught it.
right. If had it been any other outfield in baseball, it would not have been caught.
If
Yeah.
it was any other outfield in baseball, the Twins lose another one.
Yes, they do.
So if you're at a soccer game with one of those
That's not going to happen.
dear little grandkids of yours, just the sweetest kids
I
on
put
earth,
my foot down.
and one of them accidentally kicks the ball towards their own goal. He accidentally does something out there. Does that kid then have to walk home with you, or do they sleep in the yard?
No, what everybody will say is, good try.
Case by case basis.
Golly, Such.
Yeah, Joe, I did find, back to the Central 5 Park story, Breslin went after Trump big time for
I
taking
know,
that ad out.
but he didn't go after the
cops.
the faulty justice
Oh,
system.
I see what you're saying. Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah. Yep. That makes sense.
Which shocks me.
Yeah.
I've told you this before. My worst. I had words with the child after this game.
Oh no.
T-ball, and the kid hit it pretty good. It went out into center field, and everyone on the defensive team ran out to center field,
Of course.
joined by the kid who hit the ball. And I had a little chat about that.
Didn't want to be left out.
No, ran right out there with him.
Kind of sounds like something we would have done, huh, Matthew?
Exactly. They had to really train me hard to run to first base and not third.
Do you want to know how different youth sports are today than they were even 10, 15 years ago?
I can't count the ways.
I was monitoring a seven.
First of all, how many years ago? You want to go?
I'll say 15 years.
That's not far enough.
Okay, let's go 20.
Let's go 50.
All right.
No parent was ever seen.
I do. Well, that was the case even, I would say, 25 years ago.
And things were much better.
I was monitoring a 7th grade baseball game. I'll leave the town out of it. And the 8th grade team was at the field next to
Was
us.
this down in Jordan?
No. No, it was not in Jordan. And there was a parent with the scanner, the old gun and the thing, monitoring every.
No.
That
no.
can't
Oh
exist.
yeah, and I went.
No.
What are we doing here?
No.
What are we doing here?
You get one of those
Fail.
big giant fishing nets and put it over his head and pull him out of there.
Kenny, to the point where if you go to a basketball tournament, there's at least 10 different video setups for various players to put highlights on YouTube. You think I'm joking? I am not.
Do you think the governor will address spending cuts tonight?
No.
It's a piece by Martha Nolomol, American Experiment. Only spending cuts will save the state budget. This fellow's not capable of that.
Private schools, he'll bring that up.
Probably, and he'll have great support for shortchanging private schools. Minnesotans do not like private schools.
We ate them, yeah.
Yeah. Not only will tax hikes raise costs for Minnesotans, but they won't address the budget problem, which Martha has written about before. According to the Minnesota Management and Budget Office of Minnesota Management and Budget, the state budget started flashing red at the end of 2023 when spending rose to exceed revenues. The structural imbalance has only grown since. In the 2024 November forecast, estimated spending for the 2028-2029 biennium exceeded revenues by $6 billion. In Feb of 2025, just 2 months ago, that gap grew to $6.5 billion.
Wow.
An estimated $450 million surplus from the 26-27 biennium slightly reduced that gap, resulting in the $6 billion deficit. So you got a surplus of $450 million, but it's already gone because it has to be used to eat up the deficit. Similarly, for the 2 years budgeting period currently under discussion, the 2026-27 biennium, spending exceeds revenues by more than $3 billion. Wow. Because I've told you, I wish the DFLers, when they ran for office, would be more honest with us. And when we say, when they knock on the door, why are you running? Why don't they just say to spend as much money as possible?
Right.
Money they don't have.
Right, but this is what they want to do, and they do it. I'm very serious. I could have more respect for them if they would tell me, look, I just want to spend as much money as possible.
Right.
I want to raise taxes as much as possible, and I want to spend as much money as possible. At least I could say thank you for your honesty.
Thank you for being honest, right?
But they couch it as for the betterment of Minnesota.
Of course they do. They'll come up with ways to couch it, but the bald truth of it is they want to spend money. It's fun. Hey,
We got her.
Throw
We know how
those-
to do it. We're pros.
We're good at it,
Yeah.
and that's why we're running. In the current new John Sanford novel, it's called Treacherous Prey. Some minor character becomes mentioned who a crooked suspect wants to alert Lucas Davenport and Virgil Flowers to a guy they might want to talk to, but the suspect can't remember his name. And he said, it's something like Stan or Stanley. I know he ran for office in Minneapolis. And Lucas says to Virgil, all we got to do is check with the Democrats. They'll know who it was. Because if you're in Minneapolis, only Democrats would win. Yeah. Did you flash something at me, Reavers?
Yes, please. I'd like to hear about
If you're thinking of moving your business, expanding your business, starting a new business, you might want to consider Sioux Falls, South Dakota. South Dakota is one of the most business-friendly states in the country. Listen to the governor's speech tonight, then make your decision. Sioux Falls has a population of more than 290,000 people with low business costs, an eager workforce, a high quality of life, and in South Dakota, no state, corporate, or personal income tax, no inheritance tax, no limits to what your business can achieve. Entrepreneurs welcome. And Sioux Falls has been voted in the top 10 of the most popular to move to by top10.com. 50 best places to live for families, Fortune magazine. One of the best small cities for Gen Z workers. And then nationally, according to United Van Lines, who would know, they move people around. It's the fourth most inbound city people moved to last year, Sioux Falls, South Dakota. So it's happening, and they treat businesses correctly. Find out everything you need to know at Sioux Falls, one word, SiouxFallsDevelopment.com.
Here's a man who spends hours in hardware stores, sifting through the nuts and bolts of life. Joe Souchere.
Don't blame me. It was a GLer who told me to do it. I took his recommendation, and I found another use for Seafoam's Deep Creep. I sprayed down my Boss snowplow as the final step in storing it for the season. And why not? It preserves, it protects, it dispels moisture, and will keep that plow looking fancy and dandy until it's time to use it again next winter. And where did I find that can of Deep Creep? Well, right there in the back of the plow truck, because there's a can in every vehicle I own. And where did those cans come from? Well, from the case of Deep Creep that I picked up at the local farm and fleet store. You can do the same. Deep Creep works on everything, and much better than any other product on the market. We're talking reviving rusty parts, cleaning, protecting, lubricating, displacing moisture. It resists evaporation, extreme heat, and the best part, it smells really good. I really like the smell of it. I know that doesn't count, but you can get your own case of Deep Creep anywhere. It's available wherever fine automotive chemicals are sold. Another wonderful product from our friends at Seafoam, Deep Creep.
Bill Glahn of the American Experiment, who's been a frequent guest, he's got his teeth into the ankles of Keith Ellison. He's not letting this meeting go where we have the 54-minute audio tape. And he said if the purpose of Keith Ellison publishing his commentary in the Star Tribune on his December 21, 2021 Feeding Our Future meeting was to kill the story, it didn't work. The state attorney general's opinion piece published by the paper spawned yet another media story. The occasion was today's, meaning yesterday's, news conference by Ellison touting his latest grandstanding, which is the play story in the Star Tribune Walls Journal. State sues over...
Is that a new name?
Yeah. State sues over anti-trans orders. Keith is suing the Trump administration for their decisions about for male athletes playing with female athletes. And so Keith called a press conference for that, and the subject got changed. It had something to do, well, first of all, the state attorney general's opinion piece spawned yet another media story. The occasion was today's news conference by Ellison touting his latest grandstanding. Changed the subject, preemptive lawsuit against President Donald Trump. This one had something to do with alleged bullying vulnerable children. Specifically, it has something to do with transgender children in sports. Trump hasn't actually done anything yet, but AG Ellison is in desperate need of some new headlines to push the Feeding Our Future headlines further down the results page on Google search. To be honest, I couldn't make it to the end of the AG's press release. Now, KSTP's political reporter, Tom Hauser, interrupted that media love face yesterday with some uncomfortable questions for Ellison on Feeding Our Future. And then, in fact, I meant to say this to you, and I'm sorry.
I got it. I think I got it.
Could you play the audio of
I saw it yesterday. I was finding it.
Hauser's 3-minute report aired on the Evening News 5 Eyewitness News. That was picked up by another ABC affiliate in southern Minnesota, the Washington Free Beacon. Well, the conventional media won't get after Ellison for this, but a lot of media are. The American Experiment will do a live webinar at noon Friday to hash all of this out. You can go to the Center of the American Experiment website and sign up for that. I would recommend it. But Keith did engage in some grandstanding, beating his chest and saying, look what I'm doing. I'm suing the Trump administration, how they dare bully our precious transgender children. And yes, transgender children can be precious. I just don't think boys should compete against girls in sports, but Keith does. This is a hill they wish to die on. One of the many strange hills the Democrats will die on. In any event, he's there to tout this and to get all of the love feedback and to get patted on the back for standing up to the evil president. And here came Hauser, who was a hell of a reporter, and just said, I have some by the ways for you. You got it yet?
I'm looking.
Okay. Because it's on the American Experiment site.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
AmericanExperiment.org.
I hear the ads.
And they don't even get an ad today. They're getting one better than when they get an ad. And it's on there, and it is important to hear Ellison because, Hauser and Ellison, because, again, what's important here is that Ellison is trying to put this feeding our future quite possible scandal behind him, given his involvement in hosting these, which he tried to pass off as just a routine meeting with constituents. Do routine meetings, well, first of all, do constituents of Ellison routinely get meetings with him? And secondly, are they 54 minutes long? My answer is no, that doesn't happen. Yeah. So any event, Ellison was discovered, that tape was made available because it was filed with the evidence in the Feeding Our Future trial, and it was never used. And then people began listening to it, and then questions were raised. And the next thing you know, Ellison is suing the Trump administration for transgender rights, and all of a sudden, Hauser comes along.
We are in the middle of a battle with the agencies now. And I can tell you this. Walls agrees with me that this piddly, stupid stuff running small people out of business is terrible.
Hold on.
Any regrets about using the language that this was stupid, piddly stuff that they might have been involved in and that agencies were trying to shut down?
Well, I was in a meeting with constituents who I was there in good faith. When I learned what the scope of the problem, what I will tell you is that, sure, it was far more than that. It was scamming.
Ellison acknowledges that in December of 2021, when someone secretly recorded that meeting, he did not yet know the full scope of the Feeding Our Future case.
It wasn't until I got back and asked my staff what's going on that it became clear that this was a investigation that was federal authorities were involved with.
In the recorded meeting, you can hear people saying they'd donate to Ellison's campaign if he helped them. Ellison denies soliciting or accepting donations from people in the meeting.
When these people brought up my campaign, I shut it down immediately and told them I was here to listen to constituents, as I always do, and that it wasn't appropriate to bring up campaign matters.
So no quid pro quo?
Absolutely not. Never.
And Ellison reiterated he never asked for or accepted any donations from people in that meeting as a result of that meeting. He also maintains it wasn't until about a month after that meeting that was secretly recorded that the full scope of the Feeding Our Future fraud became more clear. Live at the state capitol, Tom Hauser, 5 Eyewitness News.
But what Ellison is yet to explain is if this was all a surprise to him that these people were fraudsters, how come he didn't know anything about it if, as he claimed, he had been investigating this a year prior?
Because he's lying.
Right. Doesn't make sense.
And he did accept donations from them. Apparently he
did, yes.
ended up giving them back.
We think.
Do we know that?
Hold on, I think.
Well,
I have never seen that.
Well, he said he gave them back.
We don't know that.
He said he gave them back.
I'd like proof of that, please.
Look at, your old mayor was onto this, however accidentally. This fraud was so massive that it began to sink in a month or two ago on this show that this fraud could not possibly have been engineered without authority figures knowing it. And I've always said, when it comes to Walls, for example, I highly doubt Walls was enriching himself. I highly doubt that he is putting money in his pocket. What I no longer doubt is that he knew about it. And
you no longer doubt that he didn't know about it.
I no longer doubt that he did not know about it. I do not doubt that Keith Ellison did not know about it. I think the game they've played over there, the reckless game with your money and my money, has been to give as much of it away as possible to marginalized communities. And if those communities get caught, that's their problem.
And deny.
We're okay because we didn't enrich ourselves, and we can continue to come up with this bureaucratic nonsense, and the media will fall for it. Like, well, we'll put together an investigative new agency. We're astonished. We can't believe this happened. All of which is utter nonsense. I'm convinced is utter nonsense. And the same is true of Ellison. He couldn't have been, a year after he claims to have been investigating this food fraud, he's sitting in the office with the principal players in it, and he's trying to tell us he didn't know. I'm not buying it. I'm not saying Keith put any money in his pocket. I am not saying that.
No, he received a donation, though.
Well, then he said he sent that back. Keith, you have a standing invitation to be on this show. I think you're crazy not to come on. I really do. You haven't responded. The invite has been established. Is that correct, son?
Yeah.
And I'll continue to leave it as an open invitation anytime you want. But I don't hold out great hope. We know Walls won't come on the show.
Yeah. I won't even ask him if I see him again.
No, he's been asked half dozen.
Actually, I would.
Yeah.
I would say you told me yes 4 times and you still haven't. I mean,
Yeah.
You've been on
Fifth
CCO.
time's a charm.
Yeah, 5th time. You've been on CCO.
Do we, by the way, speaking of that, could somebody find out, maybe it could be John Haidt. Mm-hmm. Do we have any update on whether Walls will show up at the governor's fishing opener? Remember he was going to go up there and hold kind of a town hall with the local mayors?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yep.
And the local mayors, that really isn't Walls' country.
While John looks that up, not necessarily unrelated, Jimmy Gordon gave us the figure of Dylan Bryan Adams' salary, because you were asking about that yesterday.
He's a statistic, or he's an analyst of some sort.
He appears to have made $85,882.92 last year. So that was from the Department of. That was according to his staff bio on the government website.
I would go out on a limb and say I don't think he's going to die of hard work.
No.
Not if he's out on a weekday when he should be working.
Well, if he's keying up Teslas,
Teslas
that's
on a
pretty tough.
weekday.
That's pretty tough work.
Maybe he got a call, had to go home and get the dog or something. I don't know.
Where was the fishing opener? Whitefish, Lower
It's
Whitefish?
on Whitefish Chain.
The chain, yeah.
Yeah,
Just
there's
outside of St. Cloud.
nothing new about him showing up ever since he made the announcement and ever since those invites. Mm-hmm. There's no new thing showing up on the Google about whether he will be there, whether he'll show up for any of those meetings.
What's the
with
date
town
of it, John?
meetings. May 9th and 10th.
Is that the Mother's Day weekend?
Correct.
Yeah.
Mother's Day weekend. Yep.
May 9th and 10th, which is coming up soon.
Yeah.
I'll find it very interesting if he does it. He'll probably go. He just probably won't hold the town hall meetings.
He'll be there long enough to take a quick photo and then head back into the limo.
Yeah.
Get
Could
a
be.
picture of him with the fishing pole.
Somebody will hand him a fish.
He'll have the tackle hat with its tag still sticking on it.
Yeah.
What are those called? The fishing. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? What are those called?
Fishing hats?
Yeah. It's got the lures and stuff on it. What are those called?
Hats with lures on it.
Fishing hats?
Thank you.
I'm
Thanks,
really,
Ken.
bucket hats. Bucket hats.
unaware of somebody that would put lures on their hat.
You've never seen a fishing hat before?
No, I have not.
My fly fishing hat has flies on it. It's easier to just hook them on the brim than put them away.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, Kenny.
You want any more of that?
No.
You're going to have to pay me.
Okay, Kenny. That's great.
Oh, it's just called a top hat. Okay.
A top hat.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Do you know what the little basket is called when you're trout fishing to put the fish in?
ask those guys because I already know.
Do you know what it's called?
Yes.
It's a fishing basket.
What's it called, Rook?
A creel.
He's right.
He is.
You got it.
Way to
You know
go,
what?
Matthew?
That shows your outdoors relationship.
No, I know why you know it. Because of Gabe.
No, Gabe does like to fish, but
That's-
no.
I knew that.
A river runs through it.
Yeah.
Ruined trout fishing.
Because
Ruined
everybody
trout
wanted
fishing.
to do it?
Every worm dunker in the country went out there and started stomping around our creeks and rivers. Bastards.
Worm
Did anyone stop around the creeks?
Oh, it was horrible, Joe. You're supposed to
So
sneak.
creeks and cricks
You're
got
supposed to
stopped on.
sneak up to the creek, Don't let the fish see you. And these guys come plodding right up to me like,
That looks like a good
catch it,
spot."
Eddie. How you doing? Need a beer?
I got some in my Creole.
It's just horrible.
Why don't we return with Mr. Height?
We can, but first let me tell you about my friends from North American Banking Company, and they apply one simple philosophy at North American Banking Company, and it's this. It's banking done differently. And you get that feeling each and every time you walk in any one of their fantastic Twin Cities locations, whether it's Roseville, 50th in France, Hastings, Woodbury, Shoreview, and Maple Grove. They offer all of the services as the other big national banks. It doesn't matter whether you're looking to buy a home, finance a new home renovation project, or get that new car that you've been thinking about. My friends at North American Banking Company are going to be able to help you out with spring. We're smack dab in the middle of it right now, and you've got a big project coming up, then why not put your home's equity to work? And that's because a home equity line of credit from North American Banking Company is going to give you flexible access to funds when you need them most. And it doesn't matter whether it's a home project at home or the cabin, an unexpected expense, or something else, their experts make it easy. And they offer all the same online and mobile banking options as the other banks, but the key difference is you're going to get the unparalleled service of a community bank. So your first step is checking them out online today. It's nabankco.com to learn more. It's banking done differently. North American Banking Company, member FDIC, is an equal housing lender.
Wow. You cannot stop him. He'll just make a move. Joe Souchere.
I'm not going. You got to get your act together.
Oh, you know what, Ken? I have the perfect lead-in song
this
for our
right.
friends at, what are we doing, Pro Turf?
Yeah, give me my song.
Here we go. No, we're going to do this one instead.
I'm just going to sit and look at myself.
This was a request.
No, that kind of sounds like Sunvolt, that lead.
Shore of Spoon Lake,
yeah.
sunset slow.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? This does fit in, Chris.
Perfect.
Because I was going to mention the 7 days that we're at the Minnesota State Fair this year. 7 full days broadcasting live, August
days.
21st through the September 1st.
2 days this year, and there'll be special events.
It's going to be a nonstop parade. Every one of those 7 days, GLers are going to come up to me and say, why didn't I sign up for Pro Turf earlier? You should see my yard. August is about the time where that carpet of grass is thick and lush, and you walk through it barefoot. It's
I'm
awesome.
signed up.
Yeah, click on that link, GLers, professionalturf.com, and you too will have the best lawn on the block. A program set up just for your yard, not for your neighbors, not for the guy down the street. It's slow-release fertilizer and weed control plans that are environmentally safe and guaranteed for superior results. That means no crabgrass, no dandelions, no broadleaf weeds. All you have to do is water and mow and mow and mow and mow. Be sure to check out their amazing landscape projects when you're at that website. Sign up today, professionalturf.com.
You learn more here by accident
Then elsewhere by design.
And in Anguilla, GL's number one.
Will you salute that fella for me, please?
Mike Hokinson, or
Mike
Mike
Hokinson.
Hokinson, made that song for us.
He did this for us at the fair.
But we
Yes.
got the Krabby Coffee Shop at Positive Thursday. Hail the fireworks commissioner. Hail the flashlight king. Hail Kenny, FYI, and the two morons. You learn more here by accident than elsewhere by design. And in Anguilla, GL's number one. You learn more here by accident than elsewhere by design. And in Anguilla, GL's number one. In Anguilla, GL's number one. In Anguilla, GL's number one.
Did you take it up? Take it up? Nope.
No. Here's John Haidt.
I wish to thank him once more. I did this in person, but he called me by name and didn't
Yeah.
call me one of the morons.
Well, there's
and
just two morons. That was Rookie and Reavers.
Hi, how are you?
appreciated it. This
Badge
news
of honor.
update is brought to you by North American
And
Banking
then on
Company.
the other hand, I was kind of disappointed that I wasn't referred to as a moron. I've always taken great pride in that. Yeah.
It's hard to achieve.
It's not easy.
As mentioned, Governor Walz set to deliver his State of the State address tonight. The speech comes as lawmakers on both sides of the aisle have 26 days left in the session to reach a budget agreement and pass some major bills. Beyond talking about the effects of the Trump administration and its decisions, what the decisions have had, and the effect the decisions have had on Minnesota, the specifics of the governor's speech haven't been released. Besides that, however, Republicans are hoping the governor will bring people together during the address, and unity needed inside the Capitol walls as lawmakers are on track for a $6 billion deficit by 2028. All that means lawmakers can't, if they can't figure out a 2-year state budget before the session ends in less than a month, the governor will have to call a special session. State of the State is scheduled for 7 p.m.
Remember one time when Dayton came out and he keeled over?
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Right, yeah.
He would perspire.
Boy, he had a good flop sweat going.
Yeah.
You know, John made a good point in that newscast. I mean, look at all the things we've already lost due to federal funding cuts, like the COVID
The
snitch
hotline.
line.
Yeah, and the snitch line's gone.
I mean, where will it end?
Who knows?
Health Fairview Southdale Hospital locked down Tuesday after a person with a gun entered the hospital. It happened at 2:55 in the afternoon. Authorities called to the hospital for a report of someone who had a gun in their possession. During the initial investigation, police helped in securing the hospital and ensuring it was safe. Edina police say there was some kind of domestic assault or dispute that took place inside one of the rooms involving people who knew each other. During that situation, somebody pulled a gun, and that's what led to the 911 call. Police add there was no gunfire during the incident, and the person who was assaulted is in stable condition. A gun was later recovered at the scene. The suspect, who police say is an adult male, left the scene but was located in the city nearby and arrested. Edina police say the hospital was in lockdown for a little over an hour before going back to normal operations. Police say the investigation will continue. From the Star Tribune, the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension has now identified a teenage girl killed in a pursuit with an Itasca County Sheriff's deputy over the weekend. 13-year-old Angelica Bryan of Cass Lake was driving a minivan without headlights around 1:30 in the morning Sunday when the BCA said the deputy activated his lights on County Road 63. The minivan accelerated, at times hitting speeds over 90 miles an hour, and a trooper with the State Patrol unsuccessfully deployed a stop-stick tire deflation device during the pursuit. Still without headlights, the BCA said the minivan continued to flee before leaving the road and hitting a tree. The teen was pronounced dead at the scene. Brian's mother, Jenny Whitner, said her daughter had been placed with a foster family in Grand Rapids that night, and she was driving back to be home in Cass Lake. In its preliminary investigation, the BCA found the minivan was stolen that night from a residence in the area.
She was 13.
Yeah.
No alcohol involved.
Nope.
That's so sad.
Federal judge ordering the U.S. Department of Homeland Security yesterday to temporarily restore the student visas of 5 Concordia University graduate students. The 5 plaintiffs are citizens of India and earned master's degrees in information technology and management from the St. Paul University. In his order, U.S. District Judge John Thunheim of Minneapolis said the plaintiffs clearly face irreparable harm after having their student status abruptly terminated. That decision comes after 2 other judges granted similar restraining orders last week to other Minnesota students targeted by DHS. The court will hold a preliminary hearing at a later date. The lawsuit had said the plaintiffs were provided no notice, much less an opportunity to object to the termination of their status. The foundations of the procedural due process that all persons in the U.S., including non-citizens, are entitled to under the Fifth Amendment. In declarations filed in court, the 5 say they were in compliance with all the rules and regulations required to maintain their visas. 4 of the 5 say they had been cited for traffic violations, one of whom said they pleaded guilty to a misdemeanor drunken driving offense. However, the suit said those offenses are not sufficient to warrant termination of their student visas. The plaintiffs also said they had not engaged in any on-campus political protests or demonstrations. Why don't we take a quick break here and hear from Mr. Reavers?
Thank you, Kenny. I want to mention my friends at
I'm John.
What's your name? Sorry, I was looking at Kenny because I'm not used to Kenny sitting next to me in the studio here. Kenny, were you doing news tonight? Hofferman Water and Connecticut is here from you, and spring is the perfect time to get on the schedule to have them come out and give you that free water analysis. I did it a number of years ago, and I'm really glad that I did because it's made an amazing difference in the quality of water in my home. And the benefits of going beyond whole home treatment for hard water, iron, and chlorine is excellent because having a fully third-party certified reverse osmosis system is going to reduce contaminants that are commonly found in both city water and also in well water. And I can attest to that because it has made an amazing difference in the quality of my water. But your first step is you've got to get on that schedule and have them come out for that free water analysis. And when they do that, they're going to give you this thing that's called a water score. And based upon that water score, they're going to have recommended treatments for you and your family. And so call them up today at 612-895-2440 or visit their website, which is HoffermanWater.com. And when you go on to HoffermanWater.com, you can see every single water treatment system that they have to offer. And it doesn't matter if you're in the market for a brand new water softener, maybe an iron, rust, and odor filtration system, or a brand new drinking water system. Either way, they're going to take care of you. And that's because Hofferman Water has been proudly serving the state of Minnesota for over 50 years. Please do me a favor and mention they heard about them on the Garage Logic podcast.
'82, I was 17, my old man was 55. If you do the math between the two of us, that's 72 years of life. An eternity, so it seemed to me. How could anything live that long? Now I say my folks were only 84 the year that they passed on. For a little while it seems you got time to choose your dreams. Pretty soon you look around and you see 100 years ain't what it used to be. And my grandpa Roy, when he was a boy in 1904, he was taught by men who fought in the actual Civil War. And only 8 decades passed, and my high school class put the tassels on the other side. Started on our way full of naivete on the great American ride. The months and years slide past, each more quickly than the last. Pretty soon you look around and you'll see 100 years ain't what it used to be. Oh, Johnny!
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, Johnny, hey! Oh, yeah!
He did the guitar face.
Ibuprofen's under buy again in my online shopping cart. Every week I learn of something else I should be doing for my heart. If I use the wrong pillow, I might have trouble getting out of bed. My hair grows in my ears and nose now more than on my head. As a kid, to me, ancient history was something like World War I. But I arrived close to that time than this year as I sing this song. And I'm starting to find I can wrap my mind around life is brief and dear. I can hardly believe my baby girl's turned 26 this year. Oh,
It's the end of the world as we know it.
They still make a
and
paper?
he feels fine. Joe Souchere.
They still make a paper?
Yeah.
Well, here's what you can do with your paper. You can get your garage floor in order and looking beautiful. Then you can sit in there and you can read the paper in your lawn chair. The garage in Garage Logic is revered, correct? So why not make the floor, make it look like the Taj Mahal? Plus, hey, if you're having that open house, if you got that kid that's graduating, why don't you get it done right now? Get it done, and Innovative Garage Flooring can do it. They're online at innovativegaragebflooring.com. Give me their phone number in just a little quick second or two, but their warranty, one of the strongest in the business, commercial, industrial, residential, it doesn't matter. They've been doing floors for over 30 years, one of the largest selections of product lines and floor systems. They do it right, and you can tell that they're going to treat you well because they know you're a garage logician. Their showrooms in Blaine, you can go there and see all of the floor systems that they have. They also have a price match guarantee. InnovativeGarageFlooring.com, 763-291-0110. Remember, 3 decades of experience. When I had my garage changeover, that floor was beautiful, and we did sleep on it that first night. It was fantastic. 763-291-0110. InnovativeGarageFlooring.com.
John, may I make a newspaper note before you resume? The Star Tribune has a new editor, Kathleen Hennessy. And I mention that because she would have been between 2 of the kids I used to have in high school.
Okay.
At the same high school.
A local gal.
Yeah, from St. Paul. And I bet the kids know each other.
Will this
that's fine.
improve the coverage?
I don't know anything about her. She was with the New York Times. She was with AP. I don't know. Good
Joe,
luck
that's
to her.
almost as good as one of Reaver's town ball stories.
Hennessy, I'm trying to
Almost
think.
as good.
Hennessy, wow.
You know the Hennessy family.
Time and time.
We went out to eat last week. I didn't know if I
Well,
should about
actually,
that.
I think it's it was a big deal in this country when a newspaper got a new editor. I will concur that it's probably not that big of a deal anymore.
Where did the prior editor go?
Resigned or
Oh, no.
retired? I'm sorry, retired.
Where does the editor fall under the with Walls's buddy?
Grove. Well, in back when newspapers were real, publishers didn't have much say in content. Publishers were the guys who went out to lunch at the Chamber of Commerce and smooshed people. And now I don't trust this Grove as far as I can throw him in terms of protecting
So she's
Walls.
working for him.
Yeah. But for all I know, she's a strong, independent voice. I have no idea. Good luck to her.
In other news, U.S. stocks soaring yesterday after that bruising day on Wall Street Monday as investors built hope for de-escalation on several fronts of President Trump's trade battles. Stocks largely rallied after U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent backed off some of the tariff war with China, saying it wasn't sustainable. He said in a private speech yesterday that talks between the U.S. and China would likely lead to some de-escalation, although he added the negotiations will likely be, in his words, a slog. The president also backed off criticism of Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, saying he had no intention of firing. The president's words on Powell had been seen as a main reason for Monday's steep stock fall. Stocks continue the upward trend today. As of this hour, the Dow up 580, the NASDAQ up 509, and the S&P up 108 points. One stock not doing well going into the day, Tesla, and Elon Musk has reacted to that. He told Tesla investors he will scale back his work at the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, saying the amount of time he spends on the task force will, in his words, drop significantly starting in May. As the Trump administration's cost-cutting initiative, DOGE has slashed tens of thousands of federal jobs in the name of reducing fraud, waste, and abuse. But DOGE has also sparked a backlash and plenty of lawsuits as critics accuse it of accessing voters' private data and cutting programs that are vital to many Americans. While all that's been going on, Tesla sales have taken a hit as the automaker's vehicles have increasingly become a symbol of the Trump administration.
John, you didn't give the number. Wasn't it 70% or something?
71%. The profit went down 71% first quarter. So, Senator Dick Durbin of Illinois announcing this morning he will not seek re-election in 2026, ending his decades-long congressional career. Durbin holds the position of Senate Minority Whip, the number 2 position in the Democratic caucus, as well as ranking member of the Judiciary Committee. The 80-year-old Durbin is tied for the 5th most senior member of the Senate, having taken office after his victory in 1996. His decision to step aside leaves a vacancy that Illinois Democrats will likely scramble to fill in the deep blue state, as well as the state having a deep bench of federal and local lawmakers who might want to seek a promotion.
John, you keep doing the news, but Rook, look up Dick Durbin net worth and what did he do for a living when he became a member of
And
Congress.
John and Matthew, listen closely. Oh, what is he in the Senate, John? You said he's
Minority Whip.
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 Oh,
Like
Whip.
Rick from
Yeah,
Texas.
Harlingen, yeah.
Harlingen,
Just get me his
Texas.
net worth and what he might have been worth when he joined.
For me, the whip comes from the kid on Family.
Cool whip.
Stewie.
Cool Stewie, yeah. Cool Whip. By the way, the part of that story that to me is the most annoying, he's 80 years old. He's only
the 5th.
The 5th most senior member of the Senate. That's, we're not doing it right.
Well, you don't retire from a gig like that. They cart you out.
That's why I'm very curious about his financial position.
We're just not doing it right.
First one says 10 million. I'll try to verify that.
10 million. He didn't pay enough attention.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio announcing a reorganization of the State Department yesterday, calling for a 15% reduction in force across the U.S., about 2,000 positions, and consolidation of more than 100 offices worldwide. An internal working group is tasked with executing the plan by July 1st. The 132 offices slated to be cut represent about 18% of the State Department's offices. They include offices related to criminal justice, promoting democracy, and women's issues. 2 offices will be added, one focusing on cybersecurity and the artificial intelligence programs, and another to coordinate aid programs that remain following the dismantling of U.S. aid group. Let's skip that one. President Trump will let Vladimir Putin keep almost all the territory he seized from Ukraine under the terms of a proposed peace plan. That condition part of a 7-point plan to end the war that also leaves Ukraine with no clear U.S. security guarantee. It's being discussed today in London. U.S. officials will hear Kyiv's reactions, though the talks were downgraded when U.S. Secretary of State Rubio pulled out of the talks. Foreign ministers from the UK, France, Germany, and Ukraine withdrew also in an apparent response. Discussions were instead scheduled to take place between senior officials from those nations and the U.S. The Trump administration's peace proposal involves the U.S. offering formal recognition of Russian sovereignty over Crimea and implies de facto recognition of other occupied territories. That would mean freezing the current front line, allowing Putin to keep almost all the territory that Russia has gained during the war. New York Times did not libel former Alaska Governor Sarah Palin in 2017, that according to a jury yesterday. The jury deliberated a little over 2 hours before reaching its verdict. A judge in a different jury had reached the same conclusion about Palin's defamation claims in 2022, but her lawsuit was revived by an appeals court. Her lawsuit stemmed from an editorial about gun control published after U.S. Representative Steve Scalise, a Louisiana Republican, was wounded in 2017 when a man with a history of anti-GOP activity opened fire at a congressional baseball team practice in Washington. In the editorial, the Times wrote that before the 2011 mass shooting in Arizona that injured Gabby Giffords, a U.S. representative, and killed 6 others, Palin's Political Action Committee had contributed to an atmosphere of violence by circulating a map of electoral districts that put Giffords and 19 other Democrats under stylized crosshairs.
Find out anything?
No. He was worth $1.9 million in 2016.
And now he's worth 10?
That's what some say. It's all over the board here.
Yeah, all right, never mind.
2021, he was worth $3 million.
Well, and so in 2 years, he gained a couple bucks. Yeah.
A variant of the bird flu virus collected in 2016 and no longer in circulation was just one mutation away from being able to bind to human receptors. That finding underscores that certain bird flu strains have the potential to cross over to humans and possibly trigger a pandemic. The variant currently circulating does not yet have the ability to bind to human receptors. The 2 studies published in PNAS and Nature were led by Utrecht University researchers Robert de Vries and Geert van Boons. Viruses use receptors, that is, molecules found on the surface of cells, to attach to and enter the cells. Different animal species have different receptors. So for a virus to infect humans and spread from person to person, it must first be able to bind to human receptors.
So that sounds like that lab's got some work to do, huh, John?
I think so. I don't get it. What did I miss?
It's a reference to COVID and
it's not deadly enough.
Wuhan and the labs. Yeah.
Thank you, Kenny.
I got it, Chris.
I give up. The body of Pope Francis.
I don't blame you.
The body of Pope Francis was moved Wednesday morning to St. Peter's Basilica for 3 days of public mourning for the Argentinian pontiff, remembered for his humble style, concern for the poor, and insistent prayers for peace. The public viewing is largely for ordinary Catholics to grieve the 88-year-old Pope who died Monday. The Basilica will be kept open until midnight on Wednesday and Thursday. That's local time, of course, to allow the faithful to mourn. The public mourning period will end Friday at 7 o'clock local time.
Now, I don't agree with this extremely tasteless joke from the Babylon Bee.
Then don't say it.
Okay, fine. I won't then.
They're going to finally name a pope who's a Catholic?
No, it was more to do with that CNN was reporting the Pope still looks sharp, energetic, and...
Oh, I get it. There's a little Biden deal there. Yeah.
An earthquake with a preliminary magnitude of 6.2 shook Istanbul and other areas, prompting widespread panic and scores of injuries in the Turkish city of 16 million people, though there were no immediate reports of serious damage. More than 150 people were hospitalized with injuries sustained while trying to jump from buildings, according to the governor's office in Istanbul, where residents are worried because the city is considered at high risk for a major quake. The earthquake had a shallow depth of about 6 miles, according to the U.S. Geological Survey, with its epicenter about 25 miles southwest of the city of Istanbul in the Sea of Marmara.
This is a notification also from our geologist, Stacy, who calls this a fairly large earthquake with many aftershocks, and there is likely to be damage. I don't like the name Turkey for a country. I don't have anywhere to go with
What
that.
about Turkmenistan?
I'll go with that.
Confuses me.
At least it's a stand country.
Yeah.
We talked about this a bit off air. They did change it in 2022. The UN recognized a new name, but it hasn't took, as they say.
Well, that's the UN. No one's going to pay attention.
Officially it's now Turkiye.
That's still too close to Turkey.
I'm not sure how you'd pronounce that.
I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to Turkey.
Aye.
Turkey.
Like pizza ranche.
Yes.
A U.S. Army commander has been suspended after refusing to display a photo of the president. Fort McCoy commander Colonel Shayla Baez Ramirez was relieved of duty after the Wisconsin Army base failed to put up a picture of Trump, J.D. Vance, and Pete Hegseth, the defense secretary, on a wall that displays its chain of command. It comes after the Defense Department launched a probe to investigate why the wall, which would typically display images showing those in charge, had been left with empty frames. The blank frames have since been filled, with the department's rapid response team posting on X earlier this month regarding the Fort McCoy chain of command wall controversy. We fixed it. Also, an investigation has begun to figure out exactly what happened. On Sunday, Hegseth shared a post on X which claimed commander of Fort McCoy, whose base chain of command was missing photos of Trump, Vance, and Hegseth, has been suspended. The U.S. Army Reserve Command confirmed Ramirez's suspension, but denied misconduct was the cause. The suspension is not related to any misconduct, according to a spokesperson, saying the Army Reserve has no further details to provide at this time. Colonel Ramirez became the garrison commander in July of last year, having served as chief of the reserve program and Army Intelligence Security Commander at Fort Belvoir, Virginia, as well as in other roles throughout the Army services.
John, I think you're done. From what I'm hearing in the background, you might be done. Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Joe is gathering his ulterior.
I just fell down the
I
stairs.
think you lost
John,
somebody.
you mentioned Pete Hegseth. I've been reading about him. The insiders are calling his wife Yoko Ono because she's never not by his side, and the thinking is that she's there to rein in his wandering eye, and to safeguard against his drinking. And thank you. And it is quite odd that she is with him virtually all the time. And I wonder.
What do you wonder?
Who's watching the kids? Don't they have about 15
Maybe
kids?
a nanny or something?
I don't know, but she's with them.
Tell me the three reasons again.
Well, he has a wandering eye,
Okay.
and he drinks too much.
Okay.
Well, apparently he's not. I mean, she's watching
Right.
for that, and apparently she gives him some ideas to speak about.
2 out of 3 ain't bad for me. That's why Michelle is taking care of me.
I'm surprised that you brought that up, and I think you're trying to divert me because I think in your family, you're the Yoko Ono. That poor woman can't go anywhere without
can't
you
go anywhere.
clinging to
I'm going to
her.
run the target. Hey, what are we going to get?
Oh God!
That was a conversation. I have to get some stuff from Target.
Poor girl.
I'll go. Yeah.
I feel for her.
Yeah.
If winter's taking a toll on your garage door, get a hold of your garage door guy. Precision Door Minnesota. That's Garage Logic's garage door guy. They're a team of people, of course, and I'm sure they have women on board, and women can be guys. But they do it right. They fix everything. They're in western Wisconsin and the entire metro area. And put this number into your contacts if you already have not. 612-263-6985. If you need a new garage door, they'll handle that. They have models for every budget. They send out a designer. The consultation is free. And if you get a new door now with Precision Door, they'll throw in the motor, which is a value of more than $760. If you don't want to call them, you can go online at one word, precisiondoormn.com.
This guy wears many hats, just not indoors. Joe Souchere.
You recall yesterday we determined that you could put all of the people on Earth in the state of Texas? And Eric writes, let's crank it up a notch. Picture cramming all 8.1 billion people into a mosh pit like First Avenue, each with 2 square feet. That's 16.2 billion square feet, barely more than Hennepin County's 15.4 4-4. What is this guy saying?
Yeah, just barely bigger than Hennepin County.
What is? Texas? Why am I reading this?
Joe, just try it again. Like we haven't heard this part before. Try it again. Here we go.
Picture cramming all 8.1 billion people into a mosh pit like First Avenue, each with 2 square feet.
Right.
That's 16.2 billion square feet. Barely more than Hennepin County's 15.44 billion square feet. So the next time you're sprawled on your couch,
Whoa.
eyeing that dusty globe,
I think I just
know
saw
that
Kenny's
Hennepin
crouch.
County is a pinhead on it, yet it could hold every human on Earth. Hennepin County could hold all the people.
If we were
on
all
Earth.
crammed in together, yes. Whereas in Texas, we'd have a tiny bit of space.
Texas, you'd damn near have room for a guard.
But that's everybody. Sorry.
I want to know who's on stage. If we're in a mosh pit, who are we moshing to?
Your Kenny Olson.
My
days.
Morning Jacket.
What's that drunken Irish band that I've seen a million times and now I can't remember their name?
You too.
No, not those jackasses. I mean a real band.
Dropkick Murphys?
Yeah, thank you, John.
Are you sitting down?
Yeah.
I had a ticket with my name on it for My Morning Jacket at the
Well, it's
Armory,
Easter Sunday night.
and I turned it down.
Yeah.
It was Saturday night before
It's
Easter.
Sunday night.
Was it? Mm-hmm. Oh,
I was reading about Minnesota will host the World Deaf Curling Championships. That's 122 curlers and coaches from 11 countries. The Deaf Curling Championships.
are they going to hold it in Chaska?
in Blaine
Oh, in Blaine. Okay.
at the Four Seasons Curling Club in Blaine. And the reason I took note of this is it occurred to me that of all the sports I can think of, curling really wouldn't require any hearing. So why couldn't a deaf person just as likely be a member of a curling team where the other participants on the team can hear?
Have you not watched curling?
I know all about curling. I happen to be a curling expert.
First of all, let me apologize. I am sorry.
There's an old curling club right on Selby Avenue in St. Paul.
I apologized. I'm sorry.
I know curling very
But
well.
I do not know curling well, but I do know there's a lot of yelling from the person that, whatever they're called, that pushes the stone.
Team captain.
The
yells.
captain towards the sweepers.
And I got news for you. That's nothing. They let the rock go. We call it a rock.
Yeah.
They let the rock go. Not a lot of people know that. We call it the rock.
Right.
They let the rock go, and then people start frantically sweeping. You don't need to hear an instruction to start sweeping. You start sweeping.
I'm sorry, Joe, but the internet disagrees completely with you.
What do they say,
The
John?
skip, or the team captain called the skip,
They hurl
You-
the rock.
uses yelling to guide the sweepers on how to move the stone as it's moving down the ice. Other team members also communicate with each other, but the skip's communication is the most prominent.
Okay, then I got a question for you, Mr. Smart Boy, Mr. FYI.
I'm just reading it off the
newsman.
internet.
Well,
I'm
then
not,
if
you
they're
know.
all deaf, how can they hear what the skip tells them to do?
What?
Here comes the stone.
He's got a good point.
What
there.
if they're deaf? This is going to be some bad curling then. No one's going to ever get the rock in the middle.
Joe, you're an expert on curling. Tell me more about the stone, if you will. I'm really curious
If
about
I'm
the stone.
not mistaken, there's only one place in the world where the stones come from. That's an island off Scotland. It's a certain kind of granite that starts as just a big square hunk of granite, and then it has to be precisely chiseled and then put onto what's those things called? What are those things called? Grinders, buffers, and what have you, to get it down to a precise weight.
What do they do with the ones that come in under? Now, considering, and I'm guessing it takes, 100 hours, 50 hours to make one stone? What do they do with the ones that come in? So you're an ounce shy.
They sell them as boat anchors.
I bet you they have to destroy them.
Yeah,
Just to keep their reputation intact.
I guess.
They
I'm
can't
sorry.
let those things out.
I would like to join the conversation, but I've gone down the Cheryl Bernard rabbit hole.
Oh, yeah, I
Who's
remember
she?
her.
Canadian.
She's a curler.
I
She's
could
the
curl
captain.
up with her.
Isn't she the one that the old man was chugging beers at the Olympics? Is that her?
I believe so.
I think so. But
Well, can we get back to the deaf people? I'm
Listen,
trying to.
I got it for you, Joe.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Kenny. I'm sorry.
How many people on a team? Do we have a curling
As
team
many as
sitting?
you want, you just put them out there. It doesn't make any difference.
Us 5 could be a team, couldn't we?
I think so.
Oh, we'd last 9 seconds.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to do that.
curling?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's another place in Fridley, right underneath the tower there.
There's a place on Selby.
They're everywhere now.
I think it involves a lot of drinking.
Go ahead, John.
Deaf curlers often play in pairs, Joe, with one partner relaying visual cues from the skip to the other sweeper who may have difficulty seeing the signals. Some deaf curlers also use electronic communication devices such as Bluetooth microphones that transmit sound directly into a cochlear implant to help bridge the communication
Or cochlear. I would go with cochlear.
That's probably correct.
That'd be hard to put in your ear, wouldn't
Be
it?
tough the other way, wouldn't
Yeah.
I wonder if you buy those in
Are you
Tanzania.
sure this is how you're supposed to do it? Yeah, you'll be able to hear a lot more after
it?
this.
Those are the curlers who suddenly stand up very straight.
Yes.
Oh,
Hey, whoops.
Loyal Garage Logic Town Council member Hans is a
Yeah.
former professional competitive curler. I can say, Joe's full of crap. The skip yells sweep or off all the time.
yeah, I know. I was just seeing.
I
if
knew
you
this would fire. I knew it would fire him up.
Hans
Yeah,
knows,
that's what I was saying.
Hans knows perfectly well. I've never been near a curling rink.
Right. But
I do
bet you've
believe we
driven
call
by-
them rinks, though.
I believe you've driven by the one on Selby.
I've been in
several
it. No, I
times.
have gone
okay,
in there.
okay.
I have.
I
Gone
kind of
in there.
want a stone just to put on the shelf.
Oh, they're neat looking.
Yeah, they are.
I almost
Hey,
joined
look
the
up
league.
what they cost.
The
What's a
stones?
curling stone
Just
cost?
Hans, just tell us what they cost. It's easier to have you.
When the Chaska one
I bet
opened,
they're expensive.
it's a beautiful facility, and I nearly joined the neighbors' curling team, but that probably wouldn't have been good for me.
That's what do you care at this
Hasn't really
point?
slowed you down, right?
Was it determined that you actually drink too much to be on? a
No,
curling
it just
team?
it was one of those deals where where's Daddy again? You know, I don't think that would have been a good. What are you looking for? A curling stone?
Curling
I want to know how much they are.
Goes for around
How
500 to
much
750.
That's it.
One of
That
them?
means a set of 16 is priced at approximately 8 to 12,000.
Why would you need a set of 16?
You
Why
break
would you
them.
need 16?
Why would you just want to throw one stone?
Well, you bring
I
your
want one for
stone
the
in,
shelf.
into
Oh,
the
for the
roof.
shelf. However, curling stones weighing 21 pounds designed for children are priced lower. The curling stones are priced at $4,500.
Well, the championships begin, if you want to get out there. They run through May 4th. I don't know when they start.
Yeah.
Reporting isn't what it used to be.
Maybe they're going on now. If it's up until May 4th.
Well, it could be. Boy, oh boy, don't you think they should have on here when it started?
Well, they tried to interview one of the contestants. They didn't get an answer.
Over the
Shame
next
on
2
you.
weeks, I guess it's underway through May 4th.
there you go.
The curling championships in
Well,
Blaine.
that explains the madhouse my hotel is.
It probably does.
You could get a room, Joe. Oh, yeah.
A little lonely.
They asked me, well, what room do you want?
Only because they come to us all the way from Marloth Park in Mpumalanga, South Africa. Are they there? Doesn't say today that they're there, but I know that's what they've been. And it's a new printing format that the Lymans are using. That's fantastic. On this day,
April 23rd.
in 1857,
Tom, that's code for Joe doesn't approve the new alignment on
no, it is a new one that I do approve of.
Oh.
I've always had to go to get another copy of it.
I see.
See, this is wonderful. On this day,
April 23rd.
in 1857, Samuel Maderi took office as Minnesota's third and final territorial governor. He stepped down 13 months later when Minnesota became a state and Henry H. Sibley was elected governor. Maderi would later become a territorial governor of Kansas. He died in Columbus, Ohio in 1864.
Is that where he died?
On this day,
On April 23rd.
in 1881, a group of Belgian settler colonists led by Angelus Van Hee arrived at Grandview in Lyon County. The village was renamed Ghent
Yep.
in honor of the group, which had been invited to the
Ghent.
state by Bishop John Ireland. I think that's where the sod hut was, in Ghent.
G-H.
Yes.
E-N-T.
I think that's where the old guy was the postmaster, in Ghent.
Which, what is the European,
like Kenny
what
right behind me.
country?
These were Belgians, but that's
so
practically
Belgium,
France.
yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
On this day,
Joe, today is April 23rd.
in 1897, the state government allocated $5,000 to open the Gillette State Hospital for crippled children in St. Paul. Named for Dr. Arthur J. Gillette, it was the first state-funded hospital of its kind in the nation. It still is with us, isn't it?
Gillette.
I don't think we call them crippled
Yeah, I was going to
children.
ask, did they have an unfortunate name for the place back then?
Yeah, crippled children. And finally, on this day,
Today is April 23rd.
in 1992,
What happened?
Governor Arnie H. Carlson signed the Health Right Bill into law, which we now use to accommodate 17,000 illegal aliens. Oh, it doesn't say that. Providing medical insurance for low-income Minnesotans, the program was later renamed Minnesota Care. That'll probably be discussed at length tonight in the State of the State speech. On this day in Minnesota sports disappointment history.
What'd we do on April 23rd?
Well, in 1980, on this day, the Twins lost 17-0 to the Angels. They suffered their largest shutout.
Sorry, what year? I missed that.
1980.
1980.
That would have been outdoors.
Who was the manager then?
Probably was
Ray Miller?
Quillisi, maybe,
Thank
Miller.
No, Miller wasn't.
Frank Willis's brother, Bill.
Miller was the manager in '86, wasn't he?
I'm sorry I asked.
I am too.
We can't go on.
Well,
Gene Mock, actually, was the manager.
was
then.
still there.
Well, that's right. Sure
He
was.
resigned in August of that year.
Yeah, that's right.
Didn't
Thank
he
you.
resign after Joe tried to interview him through a screen door when he had a cold?
No, that's when he was brought on board, and he didn't know me, and he kept me outside because I was ill, and he wasn't going to get ill.
Made you stand outside to do the interview.
It was nice though. It was in Rancho Santa Fe, so it was, or Rancho Mirage, California. It was a nice day, you know.
I would, during this uncomfortable silence, I would
I
just
have
like
another item.
Okay, but on this day, April 23rd,
That's right.
I would like to compliment the two gentlemen that are sitting in front of you who have completely packed up all of their stuff, and you didn't even hear a whisper.
Yeah.
Mike's off.
Yeah, I mean,
On
just
this day,
quietly.
April 23rd.
in 2005, Vikings drafted Troy Williamson and
my God.
Erasmus James ahead of who?
Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
So the Vikings took Troy Williamson and Erasmus James ahead of Aaron Rodgers.
They also could have had DeMarcus Ware. But
Is
instead
it
took
true
Erasmus
that
James.
Kirk Cousins could end up back here?
No, he will most likely end up in Cleveland if he goes anywhere.
Is it true that it's still possible that Aaron Rodgers could end up back here?
Very small chance, but yes.
Why are they?
Is it true that the Vikings are in the market for a backup quarterback to McCarthy?
Yes.
All right.
Why not Brett Favre? Well, I mean, those two washed-up has-beens. What's the point?
Well, Favre's got
they-
a bit of legal trouble right
But are
now.
they broke or something? Why are they still playing?
Well, because
Favre's not playing.
I'm not referring to Favre. you
Aaron Rodgers
ding-dong.
I would, Kenny, I wouldn't be shocked if Rodgers just retired, to be honest. Yeah. Is that going to do it?
And thanks to that
Thank you,
Looking Sports.
GLers.
Please do us a favor if you haven't done so already. We're getting close. I think we're less than 500 subscribers away from 15,000 on the Garage Logic YouTube channel. Because on that YouTube channel, you can watch the show each and every single day, and you can watch all sorts of microphone violations if you watch it live on YouTube. Yeah, starting right around noon. You can also see full segments, video shorts, behind-the-scenes footage in some cases. I think what we're going to do is at the end of the show every day, we're just going to leave the mics on while everybody puts their shit away at the end of the program. Also, follow us on all of our social media channels, which includes Facebook, Instagram, and X. And sign up for the Daily Logician. That email comes right to your inbox each and every single day, and it includes the most recent episode of the podcast. Yeah.
Come on, biatch.
Didn't hear that, did you? I had to write a little note to myself.